coming to you live here with not the best quality and in my ice cream pajamas. I want to speak to expression, and I'm also going to utilize some Vampire Diaries examples, things that are in Vampire Diaries that are hidden in plain sight, just like most TV shows and movies, things that are very actually esoteric in nature and ancient. And when an ignorant human watches, it just goes right past, right? Because it's all for entertainment, and that's great and dandy. But personally, I don't just watch things for entertainment. Yes, I am entertained, but I am also a mad genius, and I like to see the connections and see the patterns and see things and talk about them. Anyways, an important distinction to make in this aspect is that I'm speaking to expression here as a form of magic. So not just the expression in the sense of like, oh, I'm being expressed, I'm expressing for the sake of expressing. That is very different than the utilization of expression as a form of magic. Using expression to shift something in reality, utilizing alchemy to shift something in reality, and when the intention is there, but the lack of understanding and skill is not there, and there's not a foundation of a relationship to the supernatural, to the living intelligence all around us, then things can get really twisted. And so I'm watching season 4 of Vampire Diaries, and the theme of season 4 is this chase for the cure for vampirism. So I really love this season, and the aspect of myth gets weaved in a lot. I mean, myth unfolds all throughout the show, but it's really, really weaved into this season in the sense that the cure is basically in the tomb of Silas. So Silas is actually a name that pops up in the biblical sense. And when you understand myth deeper, you understand that a story of someone is what gets turned into a myth. So Silas is in the show, his myth is told. He is buried because his counterpart, the woman who is in love with him, puts him into a sleep. And in the show, he is the first immortal being, the first one to be immortal. And so instead of killing him, which is what he wants, to be united with the other woman that he's actually in love with, the woman who is in love with him and doesn't want to see them unite puts him into a sleep, because she knows that if he dies, then he'll just get what he wants. So she puts him into a sleep. And so the myth unravels. You see the myth, and he has the cure. And basically, there's all these things that happened. Obviously, it's a TV show. It's an ongoing thing. It can be just like life, right? It's like, oh, what's the next thing that's going to happen? It's very ongoing. But in this sense, Bonnie, the witch in the show, is starting to dip her hands into this magic called expression. And so this magic that she's dipping her hands into, leading up to this season, she actually disconnects herself from the spirits. And she starts to you see her character progress in the sense that she's really coming into her individuality and her sovereignty, but not in ways that actually benefit her, or in the ways that I would say when you actually learn skilled magic, that it is all about having a relationship to the spirits. But in the show, she is not in relationship to the spirits anymore, and this guy is teaching her, this guy who has a motive, to bring Silas back to life, is teaching her this magic. And so she's learning this magic that she doesn't even fully really understand. She's just playing with it. And it gets to the point where it starts to consume her. The magic of expression starts to consume her because it's this infinite magic that doesn't actually have any limit to it. Okay, there's no limit to this magic because it's not accessed through the spirits. It's not accessed through the supernatural. It doesn't have an anchor point. There's actually nothing confining it, which sounds all fun and dandy, except for when it's not actually understood. And so with this obviously being a big part of my mission here and my work here, and not just like playing with things that are not actually understood, right? Interacting with things that are not actually being researched and experimented. And it's funny because I'm like watching this and I'm having these revelations, and I'm thinking about my own teachings and in hindsight, my experience of when I started really tapping into how powerful expression is. Right? It's like, oh, I just have to express and keep breaking open and keep breaking open and keep breaking open and keep expressing. And that's how I create reality. And that was before I kept maturing and kept learning and deepening my studies in the esoteric, in the ancient mysteries, in the actual skill set of what it is to practice divination and practice magic, and how ordinary it actually is when you know that the supernatural is really just existing in the atmosphere all around us. But it was just really interesting because, yeah, we can just express for the sake of expressing in the sense of just speaking to expression. But when we are not understanding the actual skills that are behind practicing magic as expression, then the realm of energy just gets really sloppy, right? Again, there's a distinction and a difference between letting things get messy and actually creating a mess and actually allowing things to get sloppy, right? And ultimately, when there's no foundation or anchor point, especially to this earth, to this planet, to her body, then a human that is just dipping their hands and feeling a lot of power from magic, but doesn't have a relationship to the supernatural, then I love the ways that the show starts to show how consuming it can actually be and how chaotic it can actually be. And chaos and order actually coexist. Chaos needs order and order needs chaos. A favorite song of mine literally says that the force of liberation will blow us all to pieces. And so this really connects with, in my own hindsight, and I think a great teacher is really willing to admit where they steered off and had to correct themselves. And that's a big thing that happened for me when I decided to delete a lot of my teachings inside of Womb of Creation. And then it wasn't even Womb of Creation anymore, in the sense that I stopped seeing myself as having the sole power of creating my reality. It actually started to evolve in the space where I was like, oh, I'm actually co-creating. And then I was like, whoa, actually, wait. There's an evolving that's happening. There's an emanation happening. There's an emergence that's happening. It's not actually creation in the ways that I essentially thought. And again, I'm not speaking to creating for the sake of creating or expressing for the sake of expressing, yes. But when we start to dip our hands into the very real world of magic, there is skill. There is actual skill to be developed over time, to study, to experiment with, especially before one goes and, right? We teach as we learn, and is there actual experience happening before it's just being sold as another course or whatever, right? So this is the talk. This is the conversation. This is the invitation to explore deeper, to ask questions before, jumping into something just because it seems like it has gold-plated handcuffs and, oh my God, magic, expression, I can practice this as magic. I can experience my dreams and all these things, and all I have to do is like crack my body open over and over and over again. Yeah, I could keep going. It's been 10 minutes. But this is what my ongoing mystery school, Flesh, is devoted to, is these actual foundational skill sets and practicing magic and actually experiencing magic as the natural thing it is, through not just the practice, but also bridging and weaving education and research and knowledge. I posted on my story the other day that gnosis is not just inner knowing, right? Gnosis is also built with what is called a noetic skill set, and this noetic skill set is where the inner knowing is actually paired with genuine curiosity and genuine study. And this is why the Gnostics are so misunderstood. This is why the Gnostics were called know-it-alls, in the sense that they actually looked deeper. They actually asked questions, and they also had very intimate relation with the living intelligence of the planet. They had intimate access to the mind of the planet, and they were instructed, just like me getting instructed to get on here in my ice cream pajamas and talk about this. So explore more with me, or explore more in your own field, but Flesh is an ongoing space. You can join and receive a 3-day trial to receive a transmission, explore the space, and I'm also offering it at a beautiful price, in the sense of it's a year access for less than a month's rent, for $18.44. You get a whole year, because I truly know the power of spaciousness, of being able to receive a transmission when it's right and it's true and it's aligned. And there's just so much to receive in this space, along with actual practices, body work practices. We go into anatomy of the body. July, we're going to start with themes. We're going to go deeper into the cervix and also goddesses. We're starting with Dumuvadi, which is Our Lady of Grief. And yeah, just kind of like bringing all of this together. So there's just like a lot of ignorance, honestly, in any space. I'm not even going to just say the spiritual space, but in any space, there's just a lot of ignorance, in the sense of like, wow, looks fun and dandy, I get to just experience magic, but there is skill to be developed, there is devotion, and there is discipline. Sorry, not sorry to be the one to say it, and I'm not going to say I'm the only one to say it, but here I am.